All right, everybody, good evening. Welcome in to a Monday edition of KC Sports Tonight. It's a little bit of a dark day here in Chiefs Kingdom after the Chiefs' 28-21 loss yesterday to the Buffalo Bills. I'm Mark Poulose, joined by the great Gabe Swartz, as we have 5 great topics to talk about today, but we're going to start with the one certainly on everyone's mind, certainly one that had a whole bunch of people around the country watching yesterday, the Chiefs losing to the Buffalo Bills 28-21. The Chiefs lost almost every single statistical category of this game. Just to go through a few first downs, the Chiefs 16, Buffalo 23. Total plays, the Chiefs 57, Buffalo 64. Total yards, Chiefs 305, Buffalo 404. Turnovers, Chiefs turned it over once, Buffalo didn't turn over at all. And possession, the Bills held the ball for 10 more minutes than the Kansas City Chiefs. Gabe, for me, a little bit of a frustrating game to watch here for someone obviously that wants to see the Chiefs beat the Bills. For you, your initial takeaway watching yesterday's game?
My initial takeaway yesterday watching the game was frustration, annoyance. I told you this before the show, that I waver between two thoughts watching that game yesterday, in that I respect you know what, some comedians have like bits that they go back to, and some people say, oh, maybe it gets played out. Some people say, oh, that one's gone on for too long. This bit the Chiefs have done in the regular season against the Bills of running dumb plays, not executing at the highest level, not playing all of your defensive players the way that you're going to play them in the playoffs. Jaden Hicks played 4 snaps yesterday. That was super odd. Not being aggressive on fourth down the way you're going to be in the playoffs. 4th and goal at the 1 ahead of the halftime. Losing 7.5 win probability by kicking the worst play in sports, the 19-yard field goal. Some would say horrible bit. I'm sick of the bit. I would say part of me would say that. I'm sick of the pretending that this game doesn't matter during the regular season. But on the other side, I would say that the bit gets funnier and funnier every January. And so if the Chiefs want to bank on delivering in January again and making everybody happy then, it's totally okay. I think that is it is a lot of like writing checks that you better hope that you're able to cash later. Because I don't think that, and I think that this is a common sentiment, I don't think that the Chiefs brought their best, whether it was Andy Reid and Matt Nagy on the offense or Steve Spagnuolo on the defense. I don't think that the Chiefs overall played a great game. Like that, yes, they got outplayed. And part of getting outplayed is that, as we talked about on this show last week, that this was a game where if the Chiefs wanted the 1 seed, they needed to actually play with some urgency and treat it differently than they've treated the games against the Bills in years past. And even in the years past, I would say that that's been overplayed of the amount that they've tried or not tried. They certainly tried to beat the Bills, the game where Kadarius Toney was offsides. I think that the only time that you can really say that the Chiefs actively didn't give their best was probably last year. And last year's team, if we're being honest, was not the greatest for the Chiefs. So I think that the national sentiment of people being like, oh, well, the Chiefs are finally losing 1-score games. Yesterday was a very fake 1-score game. That was, the Chiefs were getting beat by 2 scores most of the game, somehow got down by 7, somehow had 2 chances at the end. Tyquan
the
Thornton
missed field goal was huge.
Yeah, and Tyquan Thornton got his hands on a ball that would have tied the game, or who knows if the Chiefs go for 2 there and go for the win. So I know people are doom and gloom. I'm at one point a little annoyed by the bit, but at the other time, I'm very intrigued for if it comes back in January and if they play again. I just know that the bit is not as funny when the AFC West is way more up for grabs and you're behind the Chargers by a game, the Broncos by 2 games. And yes, you still play the Broncos twice, but that's where I'm at. I'm halfway between it's very funny and also it's very annoying.
Yeah, the bit I think was funnier last year. I think when the Chiefs lost this game, they were 9-0. This year,
and Travis Kelce's walking off the field clapping to the Bills fans.
And then this year, it just feels a little bit different. You talked about it a little bit there at the end, because it's all about the big picture here right now. The Chiefs are 5-4, just as you said. They're 2 games back in the division, and they're also on the outside looking in the wild card race. Here are the teams that are holding on to the wild card spots right now. The Buffalo Bills, they've beat the Chiefs. The LA Chargers, they've beat the Chiefs. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they've beat the Chiefs. This is not a good situation that Kansas City now finds themselves in, and they really have no one else to blame. I mean, the game that we saw last night, just as Gabe said, the Chiefs were absolutely outplayed on both sides of the football. I mean, the way that some of the things that the defense was doing, Josh Allen was 23 of 26 against the defense that was coming off a shutout and giving 17 points to one of the best teams in the NFL, and also shutting down the Washington Commanders. Then they go into Buffalo. Maybe they ate the rat poison. Maybe they believed they were as good as some of the paper clippings they were reading. And then it didn't look how it was supposed to look there against the Buffalo Bills. I mean, James Cook, he was running all over the Kansas City Chiefs. And Dalton Kincaid, this is an issue that has come up with the Chiefs time and time again, is the inability to cover tight ends. And yesterday, Dalton Kincaid was having an absolute field day. And I think this is going to be something that offensive coordinators, when they face the Chiefs, are going to start once again targeting, because we just saw it's a flaw in the Chiefs' defense. The Chiefs' defense does many things well. They do many things at a very, very high level. One thing that they don't do at a very high level is cover tight ends. But, Gabe, kind of going back to what you're talking about, the AFC West being up for grabs, Denver's leading the division. The Chargers are ahead of the Chiefs right now, although the Chargers are very injured on the offensive line. Joe Alt today having season-ending surgery. They've now lost both their offensive tackles this year. Not a good situation. But still, the Chiefs are trying to win the AFC West for the 10th year in a row. That will be, I think, the very first time it's ever been done in the AFC West. And the longest streak is the Patriots at 11 in NFL history. So, Gabe, they're up against history. It's something that's never been done before. Will the Chiefs, can they come back and win the AFC West?
I think they still can. That's why it's so frustrating that it felt like yesterday wasn't one of their full focus games. It wasn't one of their best efforts games. And it's because it's frustrating to fans, because it didn't have to be like this. And it didn't have to be like this if they had not given away a 2-score lead on Monday Night Football against the Jaguars. It didn't have to be that way if Travis Kelce doesn't volleyball, bump set, spike the ball into Eagles defender's hands on the 1-yard line against the Eagles. Those are 2 games that you can say, and specifically the Jaguars game, because they outplayed the Jags by every measure aside from turnovers and penalties. And yes, and the final score. But we can say what we want about games in September and October don't matter as much, but they do matter in November and December when you lose games that you're not supposed to. And I still completely believe that the Chiefs are the best team in the AFC West. The odds would reflect that. My eyes, if you watched Denver and Houston yesterday, you would say Denver looks like I know that the Colts logo is the horseshoe, and the horseshoe is the sign for the luck, but my goodness, Denver loves to play 3 bad quarters of football and then do the most miraculous stuff in the fourth quarter. And I think Bo Nix is borderline Tim Tebow with better PR. He's certainly a better passer of the football than Tim Tebow was. But in terms of the success level that Tebow had with just doing random stuff in the fourth quarter to find ways to win, that's what Bo Nix has been doing right now. And whether it's 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter against the Giants or whatever he did yesterday against Houston, they just continue to pull wins out of games that they should have lost. So the fact that the Chiefs play them coming out of the bye, I think that's a game where you know that the Chiefs are going to have their absolute full focus, full intensity. They're going to know what the moment needs, and I think that you're going to get the best version of the Chiefs in that game. And then you still get the Broncos again Christmas night at Arrowhead. So there's still 2 games. So you can say, yes, we're down 2 games, but if we win those 2 games like we're supposed to, it's all back evened up. And to your point about the Chargers injuries, I don't think that you're necessarily as worried about the Chargers, because if you just look at on and off the field of when Joe Alt is on the field and when Joe Alt is off the field, their offense is in a completely different realm. So I can think the Chiefs are the best team in the AFC West, but the fact of the matter is they've done so much stupid stuff to this point of the season that they've put themselves in a predicament where they don't really have any more mulligans. And you and I both know and love to play some golf. Eventually, you can't just keep dropping the ball and hitting the ball in the pond and then being like, you know what, another mulligan. And that's what the Jags game is. That's what the Eagles game is. And you can't afford to just not give your best effort and not give even a B-level game plan against the Bills, because it just felt like yesterday was pretty brutal across the board. And that goes to the point of the offensive line not being good enough. And I know we're about to talk about Josh Simmons. The Bills yesterday pressured Patrick Mahomes on 52% of his dropbacks. They had not had a game this season where they had a pressure rate at higher than 38% against any other team in the league. And we've sung the praises of the Chiefs' offensive line. They've played pretty good this season. They're paying a bunch of money to Trey Smith, Creed Humphrey. Jalen Moore even got good money to be a backup tackle, and he was not very good yesterday. So they really need Josh Simmons back, and I think that is something that is going to be needed after the bye.
Yeah, the Chiefs' O-line certainly got whipped yesterday in Buffalo. There's no other way to say it. But back to this division race, I mean, I feel like we're just in this odd predicament where everyone, like we believe, I think everyone pretty much in the football world believes that the Chiefs are the best team in the division. They're the team with the most talent. But the problem is they don't have the results on the field to back it up. And football is not a game of projection. It's not a game of favorites. It's not a game. It's a game that's played on the football field. And when they line up on the turf, the Chiefs are 5-4. It is what it is. Like the truth is not something we can run away from. But what I will say is, although the Chiefs lost yesterday, they are still the betting favorite to win the Super Bowl, which is mind-boggling to me because it kind of shows, a lot of people know the Chiefs lost yesterday, but they know the Chiefs are the Chiefs, so they still are getting that respect. But sticking with the Chiefs, today some reports emerged from the NFL Network, ESPN, and a few other places that rookie left tackle Josh Simmons is back with the team practicing or maybe just working out with the team as they are on their bye before they get ready to play next week at the Denver Broncos. Now, he has missed 4 games as he's dealing with a personal matter. It's going to be very unclear if Josh Simmons is going to be in football shape. We have no idea what he's been up to. The Chiefs, I don't really know if they have much of an idea of how much physical fitness he's been able to do, where he's at. Because, the Chiefs, it's not, let's figure it out, guys. Like, after this bye week, who do the Chiefs play? The Denver Broncos. What are the Denver Broncos really good at? Rushing the passer. Yeah. They have a dominant defensive line. I don't think Josh Simmons, I know he's a heck of an athlete. I know he can run really fast. I know he can jump really high, and he's really, really quick. However, you can't spend 4 weeks off out of the NFL and come and face one of the best defensive lines who's in midseason form, and you have no work. Like, I know people want to have him back. I know people want to have the offensive line fixed in the blink of an eye. I am not sure that it will, and especially with the way this whole situation was when he left the team, it appeared they didn't really know where he was. It appeared that they didn't have good communications. Now, since then, they've come out and said that the communication is positive, that he's doing the right thing. We don't know the truth on that, and I don't know if the Chiefs will ever tell us the truth on that, especially during the season. So, Gabe, my question to you, if you are Andy Reid and you have to be the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs and maintain respect and order in that locker room, do you start Josh Simmons against the Broncos?
I think that the players will know whether or not he is in the adequate shape to play. And if he's in the adequate shape to play, he is a better option at left tackle than Jalen Moore. Thus, I don't think Andy Reid is like losing the locker room over starting a guy who disappeared for 4 weeks, if you want to say disappeared, if he just was not in the facility for 4 weeks. Guys want to win, and if he's the best option for them to win, and if he's in good shape, and if he presumably did not just sit around for 4 weeks and still maintained some level of physical activity, that he's not needing a 3-week ramp-up period again, then I think he should be out there because, the Broncos is going to be a tough task. Jalen Moore has been a backup in the league for reasons, and some of those reasons were put on display at least early in the Commanders game. He got it fixed and settled down, but throughout the game against the Bills. And so he's an adequate guy to put in a pinch. He's a much better option than Wanya Morris, and I think that Chiefs fans saw yesterday that all of the whining and complaining about Jawan Taylor and the penalties is you'll trade a couple penalties for his pass blocking, which is generally pretty good. I know it wasn't great yesterday. It's still much better than the alternative, and the alternative is Wanye Morris. So I think that if Josh Simmons is healthy, if he is good to go, and if he is in decent shape, I think that might be why he's getting like inside football, inside baseball type thing. If Josh Simmons was in the facility today, I would think it's because he's been gone for so long that he's not taking advantage of the bye, or the Chiefs don't think that he should be taking advantage of the bye, that they want him in the facility doing things to be ready to go next Sunday in Denver, because they understand the importance of him, and that's why he was a first-round pick, and that's why he's shown when he was out there to be a really good offensive tackle. And I think that his absence, you can point to specific things that the Chiefs didn't really want to do yesterday, which was we saw a lot of the pocket presence stuff from Mahomes that we saw in 2024, where he wasn't trusting things, and he was coming off of reads early, and he was trying to he was getting sped up. And I think that was just a matter of like the stress and the worry of I don't trust the protection. And that's why it's so important that he gets back. So if Andy Reid thinks he's good, if Brett Veach and them are comfortable with it, I think he should be out there. I don't think that there should be some like punishment of the communication was poor or whatever. If that's the case, for the first week or two, that he shouldn't be out there. He should be out there if he's good to go, and if it's not going to put him at risk of injury, that he's just not prepped and ready to go.
Yeah, I kind of wonder how this is all going to play out, and it's certainly something I'm very fascinated by because, again, this is just something that we have not ever seen, at least in my knowledge, see in recent memory in the NFL, where you have a guy who obviously is so performing at such a high level as a first-round pick, and then is just out of there, and the team was just this is 100% my opinion, but when he left, the team did not know how to handle it, especially in their messaging to the media and their messaging to the public, because it ballooned into a situation where it has become where we are questioning what's going on. We are questioning. It just PR-wise, was it handled the best? No. Are we going to see what happens here in the next few weeks? Yes. Do we want the best for Josh Simmons? Yes. Do we hope obviously that he can perform well against the Denver Broncos? Yes. But I am wondering physically where he's at. What do you think, Gabe?
I just wanted to get one last Chiefs thought before we move on. I saw this stat today from Josh DeBow of the AP. Tremendous Twitter follow. He has his stats on a weekly basis blow my mind. But for all the people who are doom and gloom about the Chiefs, one-score games, they're 0-4 this year in one-score games. They're 5-0 in games where they win by 10+. It's a very good thing that they're capable of beating teams by double digits. The Chiefs are now 17-8 in their last 25 one-score games. So they lost 4 straight one-score games a year and a half or 2 years ago. They won 17 straight, and now they've lost 4 in a row. So I'm not saying that they're about to win 17 straight one-score games again. I will just say that this team has a tendency to win more of them than lose, and I don't think that the average NFL team is just going to have toss-ups for one-score games. The Chiefs are good enough that that should turn the tide, and if that turns the tide, that's where we get into the conversation of can they win the division? They can win the division.
Hey, let's hope so. Right now, 5-4 on the outside looking into the playoff picture. But some more good news for you guys. The Chiefs obviously off this week, but their next 3 games are all going to be played right here on your favorite station, KCTV5, starting with that Broncos game. All right, now we have 3 more topics to talk about. Excuse me, couldn't talk there. We have about 10 minutes left. We're going to start with the college basketball season. Today, the 19th-ranked Kansas Jayhawks start their season at Allen Fieldhouse, taking on the Green Bay Phoenix. KU, they are 30.5-point favorites in this game. It's the first real game for number 1 overall recruit Darren Peterson, who is the projected number 1 overall pick in next year's NBA draft. Get this, Gabe. KU is going for its 53rd straight win in home openers. They are 22-0 in home openers in the Bill Self era. So they have this game tonight. Then on Friday, they're going to go to North Carolina to take on the Tar Heels down there inside the Dean Dome in a matchup of the Blue Bloods. But, Gabe, KU, obviously last year, not the season that they wanted. They did make it to the NCAA tournament. I think they were about a 6 or 7 seed. Not the year people were really expecting, but this year, a new core of guys, really going to be led by, I think, by Darren Peterson and Flory Badunga. Maybe what are your expectations here pretty quickly here on the Jayhawks?
I think that they can exceed expectations. I have said this. I think that Bill Self being able to legitimately sell to his team, nobody believes in you guys, nobody being like, they're picked to finish 6th in the Big 12. They're not even picked they're, with how large the conference has expanded to, they are picked to have to play on Wednesday night in T-Mobile Center when the Big 12 tournament. And that is, you can say it's not crazy disrespect. I would say that it's disrespect when you're Kansas. And given what we saw in the exhibition against Louisville, there were so many more positive signs in that game than there were in the just comparing against the exhibitions against Arkansas the year prior and Illinois 2 years prior. It's going to look a little different because they've been reliant upon half-court offense and executing with DeJuan Harris and Hunter Dickinson, KJ Adams, not quite as explosive and off the dribble kind of stuff.
Not a space-heavy lineup there.
No. Darren Peterson should be able to change that. And ultimately, I think this team goes as he goes, and as he goes with getting help from the others. And I think the others is just going to be everybody else. I think some people would say, oh, it's him and Flory. I think it's him and everybody else. And that's what the exhibition showed to me. I'm excited to see what it looks like. I think that there's a great chance that he's one of the best single-season talent that Bill Self has ever coached. Not that he's going to have the best season ever, because older guys in the program have done great things. But I'm fascinated to see what it looks like. I'm really happy that the Big 12, that we get to see him, AJ DeBanza, all these different top talents. But I think if you ask me now, KU, 19th ranked team in the country, that would project out to like a 5 seed in the NCAA tournament. If you said yes or no, are they better than a 5 seed this year in March? I'd say yeah. I think that they'll be a top 4 seed.
Yeah, no, I think they're going to be better than that 19th ranking at the end of the year, but we're going to have to wait and see. But basketball fans, hoops fans in the area, I know a lot of you obviously cheer for KU. I would suggest you have got to go out to Allen Fieldhouse and see Darren Peterson play at least one time this year, because I know I don't want to get the hype train going too much here, but this is a guy, it looks how it's supposed to look. I mean, there's a reason that this guy is the projected #1 overall pick in next year's NBA draft. Bill Self doesn't really blow smoke up people's ASS, and he's kind of been blowing some smoke up Darren Peterson.
Yes.
And Bill Self knows who quality players are. And it's just, I think it's going to be a special season for that player, and this is a chance to watch him maybe before he signs, $150 million, $200 million contract in the NBA. You'll get to see him here in a much different environment in college basketball. I think that'd be really fun. KU taking on Green Bay tonight. We'll have a recap of that tonight coming up at 10 p.m. But KU's not the only local basketball team playing tonight. The Missouri Tigers. Gabe, I honestly could not believe this. The Missouri Tigers are opening the season on the road at a mid-major. And is this a good mid-major? No. This is a bad one. The Howard Bison, I looked them up, 12-20 last year. They have to replace their top 7 scorers from a year ago, and Missouri is going on the road to play them. Missouri, they returned 7 players from last year's roster. They have 5 transfers and 2 freshmen that they're adding to that group. Mark Mitchell is back for the group. Jacob Cruz is back for the group, but the Tigers, a lot to replace after that. Gabe, #1, are you shocked? I cannot believe they're playing Howard on the road. Howard had to have come to Como or home and home. Something here is weird. Yeah,
they did.
I can't believe that.
I believe that this has something to do with Dennis Gates.
Oh, a relationship. And now it makes sense.
A relationship. It's objectively awesome. I think that power conference teams should do this more often. They should be willing to go on the road and play in small gyms. It's just cool when this stuff happens. I know a couple years ago, North Carolina went on the road and played one of the much smaller UNC affiliate schools, and it was an awesome environment, and it was very fun to watch. And I just wish we got more of this in college basketball. So I think it's cool, even though Howard is 300 something in KenPom, so Mizzou's gonna win. But it's good, and it's a good start, and we'll see what Mizzou looks like this year. They're a team where their March ended in pretty disappointing fashion against Drake, a really good Drake team, but there's a lot of continuity from last year's team, and I think that the SEC is so deep that it's a lot like what we've seen for the Big 12 for so many years, where it's like if you just go like 8-10 in your league, you're gonna have a decent seed in the tournament because you're gonna get enough quality wins that as long as your non-conference didn't completely crash and burn, you're gonna be respected, and that's what Mizzou's gonna do. They've got, I mean, we've got December 7th circled on our calendar, T-Mobile Center, Mizzou, KU, and we'll just see how the rest of the non-conference looks for these teams. But I think Mizzou is a tournament team. I think they're a 5 or 6 seed this year.
Yeah, we're going to have to see what happens. Head coach Dennis Gates certainly has that program on the right trajectory. I'm glad that there is a relationship with this Howard game because on the surface, I was very confused by all this. A very odd scheduling decision there in a vacuum. But, hey, we'll see what Mark Mitchell, the former Bishop BH product, what he can do for the Missouri Tigers. And they have a big recruiting class coming in the year after this one. So, Missouri, you really certainly have to think that the Tiger basketball program is on a big upward trajectory. Excited to see how they do this season. But our final topic of conversation today has to go on to the soccer pitch. The KC Current are the best team in the NWSL. They just finished up the best regular season in league history, setting the league record for wins, setting the league record for most points in a season, setting the league record for fewest goals allowed. I mean, they set several NWSL records this year, but their playoff match is set up for Sunday at 11:30 a.m. against Gotham FC out there at CPKC Stadium. That game will be on national TV, but it is very likely that the Current will be without the Golden Boot Award winner, Timwa Chawinga. She left not this past game yesterday, but last weekend's game with a non-contact injury. I believe on her Instagram she posted that it is an adductor injury. So obviously we hope that she can kind of return to full strength and hopefully the team can finish off this job. Gabe, that's really my question here. We got about 2.5 minutes left. The Current, best regular season in league history, but I believe it was Michael Jordan in the Bulls. They said it don't mean a thing without the ring. Will the Current finish off the job and take home the league title?
I think so. It feels different this year with them compared to in years past where they've been a top 3 or 4 team in the league, and it's been like, well, in the playoffs, is it going to work? Is it going to be perfect for them? Are they going to, without home field advantage, which they have this year, they're going to need some help to get through everything. But this year's team was so dominant, so far out ahead that you would hope that they're able to finish the job off because otherwise it's going to leave a little bit of a scar on it. But very cool, side note, very cool to see the Shield trophy inside of our building today.
Inside the walls, baby.
They had they were touring it around.
As they should.
It looked, I mean, it is a shiny piece, but I hope that they're looking out for the next one.
Yeah, well, here's a note on just how dominant of a regular season it was for the KC Current. Their lead, so the Current are in first place. Their lead over second place was the same as second place's lead over 12th place in a 14-team league. The Current were that much better than everyone else. Another note positive for the KC Current yesterday, they had their very first come-from-behind win of the season. Obviously, they haven't trailed a lot. So
yeah, they haven't needed
to do that. But hey, they were down 1-0 at home. I think it was the first time they were trailing at CPKC Stadium all year long. They were having Bia had to leave early because of an injury. There was a little bit of people were a little worried. And then guess what? They did what champions do. They dug deep. They found a way to get that victory. Dabinho with an unbelievable goal on a free kick. She's one of the best players in the world. She's back. I mean, the Current are back. We're going to see what happens. Hopefully Timwa Chawinga is healthy for that playoff game are coming up later in the rest of the way. But hey, guys, that's a look at here at sports on this Monday edition of KC Sports Tonight. I know the Chiefs didn't get the job done this week, but hey, they're back at work, and apparently Josh Simmons is back in Kansas City as well. Hopefully he can protect Patrick Mahomes in 2 weeks' time against the Denver Broncos in a game you're only going to see right here on KC TV5. All right, guys, have a good one. Take care.